Okay, looks like we're live now. Hello, hello everybody. This should work, I'm hoping. Welcome to Gemini Sun, born in the year of the tiger, or with a prominent emphasis of tiger in the chart. I'm hoping right now that this is the correct... I'm always learning how to get all this stuff together, you know. For anyone who might be watching live, feel free to drop us some YouTube comments. Today, we just did a video on learning about the Gemini or Virgo in Gemini Virgo Sun in the sign of the tiger. That's the video we just did before. Now today, we're going to do an easy little informal reading of various authors' interpretations of Gemini Sun coming through the year of the tiger. We just did a whole session about these particular signs. There are a few themes that I'm sure I could rap about now. Feel free to watch the previous video to get a clue as to what they're about. Now we're going to talk about it, but first what I like to do is we're going to jump right in and get our first reading from the Handbook of Chinese Horoscopes by Theodora Lau and Laura Lau. Now this is for the Gemini tiger. This will give us a little sense of what this sign combination is all about. Gemini tiger. One could almost hear the spontaneous and witty tiger's laughter cracking the ice at any uneasy gathering. Quick and talkative, this person can be an invaluable asset if they do not become temperamental or too outspoken. It's part of their deep, unwavering honesty about like what's happening right now in the senses of the moment. A person born with this combination is bound to be incessantly on the move and in too much of a hurry most of the time. High-strung and competitive, lots of nervous energy. If this person can bring themselves to sit down and do some thorough planning before employing their speed and inborn love of activity, this person could well be unbeatable. We talked about in the video previous about how Gemini tiger is a particularly strong, it's a strong combination. We read in all the books that these people are serious go-getters. They have the energy to do anything. And while the tiger can be very fixed in its ways, it's democratic and sociable, and they love to be open to lots of ideas. They live by the heart, so they allow other people to live for their heart. The tiger, in particular, loves for people to just be at their rawest nature. And then the tiger says, oh, there you are. Now let's talk about it. Especially the Gemini tiger. So because of all this virility, this fearlessness in a certain way, or a fearless curiosity, let's say, and capacity and a love of engaging in things, the Gemini tiger, especially if they learn to calm their minds, are just unstoppable in a lot of ways. We learned about how Mercury energy, I mean, mind you, it depends on where Mercury is in your chart to know how the sun is going to express its sun energy. But there are general tones of having Gemini Sun with Tiger year, or Tiger, an emphasis of Tiger in any part of your chart, which just are what they are. I mean, it's just the nature of astrology, right? Here we go. I got the next one. Okay. But yeah, so we're still talking about Gemini Sun combined with the year of the tiger. Well, yeah, let's just keep rolling with it. We did talk about Mercury in the previous video, so for now I'm just going to try to beef up this video with symbols from these writers. This next one comes from Cosmic Astrology by Mantak Chia, an east-west guide to your internal energy persona. Part of the reason why I'm doing this is because I want Westerners to consider the nature of the year sign. So if you're a Gemini tiger, listen to this. See how much of the Gemini in yourself is in it. But consider the tiger. It's hard to talk about, and because we're so new to the Chinese signs. But that's why I like to do these readings, because just listen, just see if you see yourself in it. And then if you do, then that is showing us mutually in the astrological community that there's something important to be said about the Chinese signs. That's exactly why I'm doing this today, folks. So let your curiosity guide you, Gemini. So this is Gemini horse combined with the tiger year. Gemini tigers are not just hot-headed. They are hot about everything. If they were a car, they would be one designed for drag racing. Oh yeah, you know, that's very much a Gemini tiger thing. And those qualities just describe the Gemini portion of this combination, not including the tiger, which is also hot-headed like that. So spontaneity is not just this combination's middle name. Spontaneity is its first name. Blink your eyes, and the Gemini tiger is in a new place with a new project involving new people. A supreme self-image comes from the tiger part. They are number one, and they know it. The extraordinary thing about all this is that it's essentially correct. Individuals in this combination tend to be leaders, and they are frequently successful. However, there is a catch to this later point. They need others, perhaps more than most, owing a lot to the wood and the fire nature of the tiger. How can the tiger express its heart energy in the fire triad if it doesn't have a woody support coming from the world around it? So who will they lead? Who will they be popular with? And for that matter, who will they get in trouble with, if not for other human beings? It is precisely for this reason that Gemini tiger needs to back off occasionally and stick to one thing, or in a lot of cases, one person. This combination is an awesome creature who is loaded with charm and has the popularity to prove it. Yes, they do find themselves in trouble from time to time, but they're sharp enough to get themselves out of it more often than not. Just that brutally honest curiosity of Gemini coming through the heart-seeking, explorative, also scientific, curious nature of the tiger. There's a lot of things blended up in there. Confluence, remember. There's a lot of confluence there. Themes that stick to the same tone. Now, in romance, Gemini tigers are not cruel, and they do not like this idea. They do not try to hurt the other person. But the long and short of it is that they do, and they frequently do it big time. As a corollary of this, they like to be the center of attention in groups or special places. Wine and dine them, especially among the rich and famous, and you might actually hook them. But with the elusive Gemini tiger, it's hard to say for sure. It's not that the Gemini tiger collects romantic partners. It's not even that they are stuck in themselves or that they are egomaniacs. It is that they enjoy, that is to say, relish, being the center of someone's affections, the center of their life. Somewhere in their hearts, they realize that the other person is going to suffer horribly from a disappointment or a breakup. Now, in family life, the Gemini tiger can be a great parent and dearly love and care for their children. This is particularly true in the area of learning, because this combination inherently knows the value of a good education. As might be expected, this combination is not exactly a homebody. Mowing lawns and making new drapes are not the Gemini tiger thing. That's not mobile enough, and they do need to be on the move. Sure, the home can be awesome, the stuff that magazine articles are made of, but that is because this combination loves a show and loves to be noticed. Oh, so I guess this is their home. Okay, I see. This is saying that the home of the Gemini tiger can be awesome, but that's because they love a show and they love to be noticed. I see. In their livelihood, if you want the real McCoy and the whole enchilada, this combination is for you. They are, to put it plainly, different. They do not hear the same music other people do, and consequently, they do not march the same. In fact, they probably do not march at all. They dance, and people love it. That's why, in the end, so many people of this combination are successful. There is no one like the Gemini tiger. There are people as fast, but not many. There are people as flexible, but not many. If you want a good manager or supervisor, do not employ this combination. But if you want a good worker, if you want a good worker, they are not for you. That's an interesting way of putting it. So this is saying that you should not employ a tiger born in Gemini, probably because their minds are so ecstatic and blah, all over the place. But of course, if they sit down and count to 10 and think about and digest all the data about themselves and their situation, and they allow the information to come through them in a slow, patient way, these people can make flexible managers or supervisors. And they can be good workers too. But I think the point of this is saying that these people have talent, these people have skill, and they have a spontaneity that allows them to explore how they can expand on their own skills the farthest and the bestest, using their own resources. They do that the best. So when you're trying to employ this person and they say, okay, here's the task, and the Gemini tiger says, okay, and then you say, good, now you have to do it with this process, this linear process. You have to do this thing and this thing and this thing and this thing and then this thing. And then you got to do them all together in this way. They may look at that and go, I can be really good at that final directive. You want that final point done? Oh, I'll do it. And watch the way that I do it in my own funny way. I'll do it in my own curious, explorative way, and I'll have fun with it. And, if you leave them to do that, they might find a way that's even better than your way. Or they might just do it in their own way that's so gnarled up and different that it ruins it. It ruins the task that you're trying to give them. For better or worse, I don't know. It depends on the other figures in the chart to see how that's going to go. But you see my point. They're best used when given the rope to explore their own curiosity and their own courage and their own thinking about how they can be resourceful in their area to affect the job given to them. Am I still good, all good people? Let's see. There's my friend Goosey. Cool. Glad you guys are watching. And I just want to know if my volume's coming through okay, so feel free to let me know if you can't hear me. Now, the final bit for today is going to come from Suzanne White's The New Astrology, a unique synthesis of the world's two great astrological systems, the Chinese and the Western. we are looking for Gemini El Tigre. Okay, so this one's a long one. This is the longest expression of this combination that we have from these 3 readings. And I think we're getting a pretty good sense of this here, Gemini Tiger. I'm trying to think if there's anything personally that I can bring. We talked about how Mercury, it likes to get a hands-on experience of the world, of people. They like to explore skills in their own experience. Gemini in particular likes to explore data in its own experience. When it has a thought of where this data is going to go to, they can be very innovative. They can find the deepest root logic of how something works in their own experience, being led by their curiosity. If you have a strong Mercury, it probably means that reality has opened itself so that you can explore that curiosity. If you've got a strong 3rd house, especially, it's always good for a Gemini person to have a strong 3rd house, because that means when they were young, they were given the rope to explore their minds. And that's very good for someone of a Gemini born in the year of the Tiger. And if they haven't gotten that, and you are a Gemini Tiger who didn't get allowed to express yourself freely when you were young, it's probably something that you want. And it's probably something, well, it's just something you should consider in your overall holistic chart analysis of yourself. Now, again, this is from Suzanne White. We're going to talk about the Gemini Tiger. The Gemini says, I think, being ruled by Mercury, being mutable. The Tiger says, I watch, being yang and being wood. This impetuous person needs good breaks. When you combine hot-headedness with mercurial tendencies, you get some very smart dynamite. The pep and seductiveness of this character has a sort of generous pussycat congeniality to top it all off. It's pretty delectable to behold, but it's very difficult to hang on to. As Gemini never stops darting from pillar to post, philosophy to newsflash, project to love affair, the character is already injected with a large dose of blast-off fuel. To add to the instability, along lopes our old friend the tawny tiger, whose basic idea of himself is that he is extraordinary. He ought to be chosen king of the jungle right now, if not sooner. And would you please move over so that he can sit down on that throne? Excuse me. Charm, magnetism, and natural authority, added to all that Gemini mutability, makes for a sort of benevolent speed demon. Gemini tigers are forever getting themselves into emotional hot water. Their desire to be considered both winning and wonderful can drive them to wish to perform great deeds. But it just isn't enough to devise dreams. Somebody has to stick around when they come to punch the ticket. Gemini tigers have a sort of whirling dervish effect going on all the time. Their restlessness sticks out to them like tiny inverted arrows all over their skin, which says, "Look at me, I'm the Gemini tiger. Am I not marvelous? Do I not impress you with my looks, my brains, my very tawniness?" Yes, okay, sit down now, and for heaven's sake, think. No, not that kind of flitting about thinking. Real sound planning type of thinking. Where do you really want to go? What is your main goal? How can you avoid all these interim, meaningless goals to which you are repeatedly drawn? This is part of that Venus. If there's no Venus in the Gemini tiger, then they will just have all these ideas about this thing and that thing and this thing, and it might amount up to just pointless, unsatisfactory, seemed like a good of an idea at the time type of grooves. So, Gemini tiger, You'd get stuck hanging on a bus strap if there was someone watching you who seemed transported by your aura. 3 stops later, you might remember where you were headed. But then, because you are so adventurous, you might not even care where you were going in the first place. Stay on the bus and follow it to your next mini destiny. You are not stupid, but sometimes you are too zany for words. I guess this is saying, like, this imagining that the Gemini tiger is like hanging out on one of the bus straps of the bus, just looking, and then they look over and notice that someone notices how magnificent the Gemini tiger looks, and so the Gemini tiger goes, I am the shit, aren't I? How much is this person gonna watch me? I'm just the shit, aren't I? Oh wait, I missed my stop. Well, here's my next adventure. That's basically what this is saying, right? And sometimes you are too zany for words. You know, in Mercury's desire to get lots of worldly experience and to have get hands-on experience in whatever it is that it's thinking about, it might only get experience in what it's thinking about. And that's when crazy adventures like this happen. And then they're like, well, whatever, it's another adventure, you know? But there does imply a lack of bigger picture wandering and self-control if you're just letting the wind carry your consciousness all the time. Bad things can happen to people who don't pay attention to the donut and watch only the hole in the middle. And tigers who are born in Gemini are some of the best targets for ill fates. They are not tied down to the earth by any reality other than the moment, the breakthrough, the jackpot, the fabulous party, the sexy guy in the aisle seat, the dame in red. Of course, Gemini's born tiger are smashingly attractive. One is automatically magnetized by their seductive manners and sizzling charm. But eventually, if they don't settle themselves early into routines that channel their energies and instruct their explosive minds, Gemini tigers can become very angry at life. When you are so naturally appealing, it's easy to float along on your appeal. But then what? What happens when you hit a snag in life? What happens when your mate leaves you, or your child falls ill, or your job is eliminated? What then, Tiger Gemini? Where will you go, and whom will you charm? The fates? No. You can only go on so long, casting about from place to place, moving from relationship to relationship. Life will eventually catch up with you. Then you'll have to face the music, and you may even have to face yourself, alone. I know it's not your favorite idea, but then you know very well that you have always avoided introspection. But if you did take time to think ahead and apply 1 or 2 of your many talents, just 1 or 2, you would be able to move mountains. You know you are strong, but you are also lazy. You prefer to bask in seduction. That, you are aware, Gemini Tiger, is silly. Now, Gemini Tiger in love. The Gemini Tiger's biggest stumbling block in romantic affairs is getting involved with people whose adoration of the Gemini Tiger does not really return. He finds their worship of the very ground he walks on irresistible. Yeah, it's egotistical, but not intentionally so. If reminded of this trait, the Gemini Tiger will humbly agree that she's not really wild about Jerry, but Jerry loves her so much that it would break her heart if the if inevitably occurs. And then Jerry is left to inhabit the populous past of the Gemini Tiger siren. The Gemini Tiger needs to be given lots of room. He or she will like to be taken to restaurants and to show off at elegant receptions and spas of all sorts. He will often tell silly stories that you have heard 100 times before. He will either you get earplugs or bite your tongue. He does not want you to get into the act by venturing, "No, dear, it wasn't Tuesday when Maria forgot your pants at the cleaners. It was Wednesday, Thursday. I wouldn't give you more advice on how to hang on to one of these flying saucers." Bleh, I messed that up. I would give you more advice on how to hang on to one of these flying saucers, the Gemini Tiger, but I don't really think anything will work. They are pretty much alone in life's crowd, and their fate belongs exclusively to them. Consider compatibilities. This person can find happiness with a lot of signs. Among the big catches are Aries dogs and horses, Leo dogs or horses too, and Libras, born either dog or horse. And Aquarius, you'll be most attracted to the dragons, but if a perceptive Aries dog won't disappoint you. You're better off losing Virgo and Scorpio snakes, tigers, and monkeys in the crowd. As for Sagittarians, you should stay away from the horses, the rabbits, and the goats of that sort. Don't take up with a Pisces snake. They're too slippery for your clumsy big paws. Home and family. Regulation home life, coupled with family life and all of its daily habits and chores, does not match up very well with the Gemini Tiger's desire for movement and experience. They often have very dramatic interiors draped with laces and fur bellows, or padded in wall-to-ceiling carpets with remote control lights and mirror effects. Gemini Tigers can be incredibly theatrical. As parents, they are very loving and warm-hearted. They encourage their offspring to do whatever appeals to them and will go to great lengths to see that their kid is properly educated. Gemini Tigers get along well with kids, too. They're extremely spontaneous people. You will often see a Gemini Tiger parent actually playing with their children, or with any children. They are not bored by the company of little people, and of course enjoy any extra attention that they can get. The Gemini Tiger child, as a child, they will need strict control over their penchant for zigzagging. If you, as the mother or father of a Gemini Tiger, can manage to gently urge some degree of self-discipline, gently, this creature may have a better chance of making some kind of normal life. Lessons, regular bedtimes, and hours to brush teeth, telephone curfews, and the like, these are important for this character, for a child. If you have the patience, your Gemini Tiger child has the talent. Now, as for a profession, fast and energetic, the Gemini Tiger is born with the ability to adapt to new situations in a trice. This person lives his or her life quickly and gets on to their next goal without much ado about the previous one. Unusual destiny is the best part of being Gemini Tiger. As a boss, he's hopeless, and as an employee too. Catering back to what we said before. This person is an original. They cannot be expected to arrive on time and leave at a certain hour. They hate routine, and they will perform much in the way of mental and physical gymnastics to escape from it. Gemini Tiger is always succeeding when he least expects to. From out of nowhere flashes luck. So Gemini Tigers are best employed at jobs they have thought up for themselves. They take kindly to freedom of movement. Give them a paper bag full of delicious-smelling soaps to go around selling, and they will have them all brought out and bought out in an hour. The Gemini Tiger is a remarkable communicator. The trouble is, on the way back to bring you the proceeds, Gemini Tiger may stop off at the leather goods store and purchase a nicer bag for himself, so that next time he goes out selling, he'll be more attractive. It's a dilemma. Oh, Marilyn Monroe was a Gemini Tiger. So, folks, that was Gemini Tiger coming through the new astrology by Suzanne White. I hope you guys dug that. That is all that we can say about, all that we are going to read about for Gemini Tiger for today. I'm just going to see if anybody has any questions. Feel free to ask any questions when I'm here doing this stuff. Hi, there's my friend Chelsea. Hi, Chelsea. Glad to see you watching. Cool, Goosey. Yep. Well, everybody can be a little bit greedy, Goosey, you know. I don't think that Gemini Tigers are necessarily greedy. I would say Gemini Tiger, like anybody, ultimately, like, they can have an egotism to them. But it's usually in a desire to feel strong, to have all their resources collected to them, and to feel like they're just, they just have, it's a Gemini thing, very much coming through the Tiger thing. Both of them hit in the same way. Thank you, my friend Mac. But, you know, it's funny when you're in a group and there is somebody in the group who is fearlessly capable. Funny thing is that Gemini Tiger isn't always, like, experienced in a certain field. They sure feel capable. And they make everyone else in the group feel like there's someone, at least, who's capable of anything. And they kind of are capable of anything. They're the guys who are just like, blah, 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 you know, like, oh, if you're not going to do it, then someone's got to jump in there. So, like, if you're not going to do it, I'm going to do it. And then they do it, and then that tends to be a thing that sticks to their consciousness, so that as time comes along and everyone in the group is sitting together and talking about each other, the Gemini Tiger is sitting back and being like, I mean, like, you know, we're all important to the team, you know I'm pretty, and they'll have a funny humbleness about it, or at least try to feign humbleness, and they'll say, you know, everyone's important to the team. I mean, like, I know I'm important to the team. Like, do you guys remember that one time when no one would do that thing? Remember? You guys remember that? And I was the guy that did it, so everyone remembers that. Like, okay, we know, Gemini Tiger, we know, we get it, you know? So there's a desire to feel capable. And the Gemini, especially if the Mercury is supported, I'm just going to throw my phone on the other side of the room. If the Gemini feels supported, especially early in life, if it's got a strong third house in particular, this Gemini will get the capacity to feel the capability and confidence that actually is organic and comes from the universe providing the space for them to air out this curiosity about their own capacity and capability. Now, if you have a weak third house in your Western chart, if you have a weak sixth house, if you have something starving your Mercury, like I've got Mercury conjunct the moon in my chart, and my moon starves my Mercury because I tend to be emotionally centered. And so that has given me less capacity throughout my life to indulge my mind. I was more concerned with how I felt emotionally when I was very young. Everybody has a moon, Goosey. The moon was somewhere when you were born. The moon was somewhere in your chart. Wherever the moon is you have to deal with your Capricorn sun in a different way depending on where your moon is. So it's always something to consider. So, thank you, my friend Mac, for enjoying the content and for joining our discussion and saying hello. This has been Gemini Sun, particularly, coming through the sign of the Tiger. If you want to know more about the pure essence of Gemini, which is shared by Virgo, it's the Mercury ruling it, feel free to check out the video before to see what that's all about. I'm Dustin Cormier. This has been Gemini Sun with the Year of the Tiger. Now, if you feel like watching, folks, feel free to tag along. We are going to go to the next video. It's going to be another live stream, and it's going to talk about Virgo Sun coming through the Year of the Tiger. Thanks for watching, folks. I'll see you on the next one.